Hello, welcome. Namaste, everybody. Namaste, Priya Didi. Namaste, Arjun Bhaiya.
Namaste, Bhaiya. Namaste.
So, Priya Didi, shall we start?
Yeah, Bhaiya, we can start.
Can you speak loudly?
Namaste to everyone.
Namaste, Arjun. Namaste.
I just joined. I don't know if I was having some connection issues, so I just joined.
Okay. Parikshit Bhaiya?
Namaste.
Manisha Didi. We can start, Manisha Didi, or we need to wait?
No, I think we have some of the students as well as participants with us. So I think we can interact.
Yeah, we can interact with them.
With the participants, and then we can start. Will that be fine, Arjun?
Yeah, we can.
Namaste, Namaste, Didi. Namaste, Bhaiya. Namaste.
Namaste. Ji. So, while the student workshop was going on, so there were very many students who were participating in the workshop. Maybe if some of the participants would like to share any of their experience while they were attending the workshop.
Manisha Didi, I think the students workshop, students will come from next week only. They have not been, tomorrow there's a meeting. After that only, I think the link will be sent to the students.
Okay, that's fine then. Then I think, Arjun, we can start with the lecture 10, understanding harmony in the cell.
And Didi, can I share just one or two things?
Please go ahead, Rupali ji.
Yeah, that students workshop, even I attended some sessions. So it was, very useful for me because I'm going to teach it from next week. So, what sort of questions students can ask and how to answer it and all. And similarly, on every Wednesday, I try to attend because of the same thing, like how Arjun Bhaiya presents and what questions and answers and all that. So I get to learn a lot through these sessions. That is what I wanted to say.
Nice. Nice, Didi.
Yeah. So my journey will start from next week, actually. So when I'll face the students that time, let's see. And in my personal life also, I'm trying to incorporate a lot of things so that, it is spoken through my body language as well. So yeah, so just that is what I wanted to share.
Very nice. Nice. So Arjun, I think I'll hand over the session to you.
Okay. So now, I think this session we can do questions or any other comments and things because anyhow the students aren't there, right? So we can do something else also if you want, whatever you want to do. Like any questions which you might have in mind or any kind of observations or something which we can discuss.
Okay, Arjun, that will be also fine. Arjun, I have a question. I think long back you had answered it, but I forgot what the real content, because nowadays what is happening is because of the COVID situation, the exams, the classes were in online, but the university exams were in offline. So when the COVID was in peak, the authorities told the teachers just need to stand there and just invigilate. They don't have to go nearby. So what had happened, the students started because they are not examined the teachers never used to go nearby, so they started keeping chits. And now the COVID has come down, those teachers are going nearby, and we are finding a lot of chits with them. But once if it is caught by the external examiner, they might be out for the exam for 1 or 2 years. But the students, we caught few of them, and then when they were caught, no, when they were not having that seriousness that they have done something wrong. They're not feeling that thing. So how to make them understand that this, they should not do like this. We didn't give a big punishment and all. We just warned them that if you're getting caught, like, no, this thing next time, it can be, you will be given punishment. But since you have been caught for the first time, but I tried to speak to them. They were not able to. They were giving a lot of excuses. The classes were online. That's why, and it's in the final year. That's why they will lose 1 year otherwise. So all those excuses were told, but finally they told, 1 or 2 told sorry, but I could feel that they have not understood it.
So it comes back to the thing that, like, about understanding the relevance of the exam. So if the exam, like in the system itself, if the exam is asking questions which don't feel relevant to the student, then there's no motivation to study for that. So especially when you don't have much choice of elective subjects and all that, where you can choose which subject you want to study. So in those things, it often happens that the student may not be interested to study that thing, and therefore wants to take a shortcut for the exam purposes, but doesn't really have interest in that subject.
It was a theory paper. So they were telling, in mathematical paper we study, and like in mathematicals, they can't do the chits also, because it's a different problem question coming, no? But when it comes to theory paper, they had, it was lost so much to study. They were telling all those excuses. I didn't even, I talked to them very calmly and made them understand, but I could feel that this was not happening before. Before they knew if they're caught, it will be punished. So now, because of the COVID situation, they're taking it a little easier. They know some teachers will not go nearby because they're scared of the COVID. So because of that, the students are taking little lenient. But no, I don't know, according to UHV, how we need to make them understand, no? If they get less marks also, it's okay, but whatever they know, let them write down, no?
Yeah, but right now the assumption is there that if you get higher marks, then it is better because you have scope to get a higher paying job. So because of that, and that assumption may be true also, but the larger assumption is that by getting that higher paying job, I'll be happier and I'll be able to do more for my family and more for other, I'll be happier basically. So that's the assumption which we need to look at and see whether having that higher pay in the job is really going to lead to more happiness. So if happiness is understood, then it won't really matter whether you get less marks or more marks.
Yeah.
And if prosperity is understood, then you'll know what exactly is needed in terms of physical facility also. So when these two things are clear, then regardless of whether the student is interested in the subject or not, they won't take it so seriously also, and they won't be in that kind of pursuit of getting very high marks also. Because I mean, it's more towards balancing the overall perspective and seeing the importance of these studies in real life, like how important it is, and what is not important, what is more important, all that, like setting the priorities, like how we discuss about right understanding and then relationships and then physical
Physical
facility.
facility, yeah.
So when we're saying right understanding, it's not really about gathering information, right? It's about understanding the whole existence So in that context, what is the role of this particular information that is coming in? Information that is being given through the exams and the studies which they're going through right now. So if that connect is made, then it might be a little more relevant, but then it's hard to find a deeper connect unless we have the basics understood.
Okay, Arjun, let me try with it but this class has not been undergone the UHV. Let me.
Okay.
Okay, thank
in
you.
the system there are many things which are not so comfortable.
I know it is not comfortable. That's why they feel it is not we cannot blame the students also fully. I understand it.
Yeah. Like the final outcome of the exam is basically just to see if the person knows that subject or not. So in terms of like how you're saying that theory paper which involves a lot of memory of different things. In today's age, like Google is there, so you can use that. These tools and all are there. So it's not as relevant now, but the system is the same.
The system is the same old thing.
Yeah.
That's the
So
thing.
then obviously students might feel that why is it important for me to know all
By
these
heart the
things?
things and all those things.
Yeah. And also the content of the studies also.
Also,
how can it be applied in the real world, and what part of that would be useful for my next steps in life and all that becomes a question. And when that doesn't have a solid answer, then of course the motivation to go into that in detail and study it, spend time on it and all that becomes much less.
I understood. There was one paper which was related to the job type. When they go for job, they have to do. So that paper they studied well and means they have to apply that thing. The application part is there. So that they studied very well and did it. But this subject, they felt that why to, I understood. Why you need to by heart these things. Yeah, that perspective. The students will be correct. Okay, thank you, Arjun.
Yeah, so in these kind of cases, like we can see that the flaws are there in the system also. But in the scenario which you're describing, what best can be done is to kind of explain that, okay, this is the system right now. Maybe when you graduate, you might be able to influence the system and change it a little bit. But right now, whatever can be done, if we discuss, then it's just making that a little bit of effort to just clear the exams, pass the exams.
Yeah, it is the same thing which I wrote 30 years back. I could remember. I just passed that paper. So the content is so high, there are some subjects, it is still the same thing. I understand it.
Yeah, and also the application in the real world also,
it's
because of the changing technology and all that, many things which are related to memorizing something are becoming less and less significant.
Significant now, yeah.
Like in any job also, there's not much focus on memorizing things. It's more of getting the job done, basically. So that's just the way it is. Some of these things that with the system right now, they are students, so they can't really change it much at this point. So they're only they are basically just looking to clear that exam and go to the next step and get the job and all that. But again, if we put in perspective the larger picture where even the job and everything is just a means to getting some physical facility, and it's not really a means to happiness. Once that is understood, then the importance of all this becomes much less in the bigger picture of things. So again, it comes back to the same things, that these three things: the right understanding, relationship, and physical facility. And with regard to physical facility also, if we really understand prosperity, then our life becomes much more comfortable without that feeling of competition and trying to get a higher paying job than the other and all that kind of stuff, and trying to use physical facility as a kind of status symbol or a symbol of some kind of respect or something. So all these ideas that physical facility will give all these things is what propels people towards getting the higher paying job, and for that reason it just goes to whatever means they can to get that. So that might involve using the chits right now.
Okay, Arjun, thank you. I think there are 2-3 hands raised.
Yeah.
Rupali ma'am, you can unmute and ask the question.
Yeah, thank you, Didi. Arjun Bhaiya, till now, whatever UHV contents that I have been exploring, everything had been online, and now the teaching has started as offline. So my concern is, like in online thing, we get those polls, then responses in the chat box, then we have quizzes through which we get feedback, and then when the polls are going on, the resource person discuss with people and resolve the queries. So in offline, we will be teaching with the help of PPTs only, like we'll be conducting the sessions. So how do we go about this feedback system, like the polls and the quizzes, and if any guidance regarding that?
It's like any other normal class which you might be conducting. You can do it in that way, where you just randomly ask people their thoughts and what they gathered out of it, because this thing is not about um, getting it all in one shot. And even for ourselves, we can see that, like, as we go through the content, some of the other things click at different points of time based on our current situation in life and based on what we are paying attention to also.
Yes. Yeah.
So when you're having the class also, it's just a matter of being comfortable and being able to discuss things freely.
Okay.
So if that can be done, then the real questions will start coming up, and then it'll be more interactive and all that, where it'll become easier to understand what exactly is going on in people's minds. Because if it's too formal, if it's like in a lot of other classes, it might be more formal, where the teacher is considered the person who knows the subject better than the student. So in this case, it's not like that, because we are like co-explorers, right? So it's more like we are sharing the proposal. Being the teacher, we are sharing the proposal, but then we may have understood something a little more, something a little less, and so on. And the student also may have understood some proposal better, some proposal not as much. And it all depends on our level of understanding at that point of time. So as we go on this journey, we can work on exploring more and more and then developing that understanding.
Yes.
So basically, to keep it more interactive, it has to be more like the students should feel that they are a part of that discussion, and we're all at the same level, basically, not feeling like there's a hierarchy where the teacher is higher than the student, because generally that ends up happening, where um, the students are not comfortable to talk because they're not sure of what the teacher will think if they start raising their real questions. So it's a matter of getting like being able to have that free conversation with the students. That will help, and that will bring
Thank you.
everybody up also.
Okay, Bhaiya. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next is Sai Subhadra ma'am. You can unmute and ask.
Namaste Bhaiya, Namaste Didi, Namaste sabko.
Namaste.
One question I just want to ask Bhaiya, that is for an individual, that is for a student, who is more responsible? That is, can parents can take the lead or faculty can take the lead?
Actually, it doesn't matter who is more responsible at that point, because in some cases the parents might be doing more of, like, the parents might be helping to develop the understanding of the child more, and in some cases it may be that the parents are not able to do that. And same with the teachers also. It may be that some teachers are able to guide the students better and some may not be able to. So the competence may vary, and the overall goal is to just try to develop our own understanding also, and also share things with the others, so that we can all develop that understanding. So with like whichever level we are, it doesn't matter. We can just try to first of all establish the relationship that we want to help each other, and we are um, you know we want to help each other, and we are both into this together, kind of. So once that relationship is established, then that free flow of information also happens, and it becomes more comfortable also for the students. So this role is of both the parents, teachers, and everybody eventually. So whatever we can do, we can look at. And in many cases, it's not only the parents and teachers also, because a lot of influence or a lot of ideas may come from various other sources also. So regardless of all those inputs, which may lead to different assumptions, different opinions, different thoughts within the students and within the teachers, regardless of all that, we just want to look at what is common for all of us and try to develop that understanding. So these proposals help to create a kind of a pathway, so that we can, or a framework kind of, so that we can have a step-by-step kind of a process, so that it becomes easier to explore.
But the problem here, it is the parents are trying to hide their problems with their children's way, because they won't share their problems, that is whatever their financial situation or whatever the rest of the things, they won't share with the children, and the children get the influence or whatever called influenced by the other students. They are having some smartwatch or smartphone. I also need to that. But here the problem is facing by the faculty, that when the faculty is saying anything to the student, that is, you are getting less marks, try to concentrate on particular subject or so and so, they are not at all responding. Yes, especially when it is when it becomes the online sessions, it is more difficult for the faculty to convey the message, because even the student is with the parent and with their home itself, the parents are still saying that you please convey our child, he's using the mobile such a longer time. Are you providing that much of assignments to my child, which is working throughout the night in the mobile phone? Are you providing that much of assignments? There, even today I face one situation. Now 3-1 supply exams are going on. Still now, the student is not conveyed that 2-1 results are out, and he failed in around 3 subjects. Today morning, his father called me and asked whether the results are out or not. I said the results are already came last semester itself. I said. He said, what is the status of his son? I said he failed in 3 subjects. In reverse, the parent asked me question, why you not conveyed that message to me? You are not responsible towards my kid. So he blames me. His own son not conveyed whatever the result of his examination because of some other works, I didn't convey. I didn't understand whether he has to take care of his son or me.
Okay, so
Dayam?
I mean, as a teacher, you can also look at what kind of feeling also you have towards the students, whether it is something that becomes like it feels like a burden or something like that, or something which feels like they are my own children. So depending on that feeling, a lot of things can change, because when you start thinking of these children as your own children, like if you have a son or daughter and these are an extension of your own family, kind of, if you think like that, then you automatically think of what is best for them, and then you start doing whatever you can, trying to understand their issues also and trying to help them resolve those problems also. But on the other hand, if you think of them as very different, or if you think of them as different from your family and just people who their parents are not taking care of them and they're blaming me and all that kind of a thing, which may be happening also, that they might be blaming, the parent might be blaming the teacher for different reasons. But regardless of that, if you're able to still maintain this same feeling that they are my children and I want to take care of them, help them, and all that, then automatically things will go in a very different way. So you can just see, you can just explore, you can just try it out and see. And
Uh,
if you're like looking in the best interest of the students, then even if the parent complains also, it won't really bother you, because you know that you're doing the best for the student. And you also know that, I mean, once you have this feeling that this is my family itself, then things change a lot. Our whole viewpoint changes. So you can just try thinking of them as an extension of your own family. Just imagine if you would treat them like your own son or daughter, then how would things look like?
But the main problem is they won't talk. I mean, they won't talk um, whatever called without hiding their feelings, because the parents are hiding the problems and students are hiding their performance. So when we hide themselves, we can't do anything.
Arjun,
Okay,
can
Maya,
I?
I try to explore.
Arjun, can I tell, because these actually no, madam, the students know they it is a psychology. If they fail in 3 subjects, no, they will not tell the parents. Some are very free to the parents, but if the parents are very strict, no, I can see from my college itself. One student told me, madam, we were calling after the results, so he came and told me,
Yes.
madam, please don't tell my father now. He will really shout at me. He will tell to stop my studies, which I don't want. So if that in that situation they will not tell, then we have to tactfully, like, no, then I, after 1 week, I called the parent and told, like, that he has failed in, like, no, 2 subjects, but it's okay since it's the first year, he's getting adjusted to it, like that, in a very pacifying way. So these things can, we don't know why the child didn't tell the parent, no. So this I feel many situations can happen. So as Arjun told, if we have to consider as if he's our child, no, how we will see the situation and deal with. There are many parents who are very strict, and students feel very uncomfortable to tell the correct thing. So, but some students have seen, they go and they're very free. Even if they fail in all the subjects also, they tell the parents. But the parents accepts it and take it in a positive way. So it's, I feel like that. We need to understand each and every situation.
And also we can see that when there is that feeling that I am not good enough, then it leads to more depression. So with that depression, on top of that, if they tell the parents and the parents are very strict, then it leads to a lot of negative circumstances within the self of the child. So I think we should be sensitive to that as well, rather than looking at the consequence that the parents are blaming us.
Yeah.
Okay, Bhaiya. I will try to maintain, try to maintain this mentoring in different way.
Yeah,
That
and
means first
also,
I will talk with
also
the,
like
because till now I just make call to the parent before the, in front of the child. So from now onwards, first of all, I talk with the child, then I will call to the parent.
and also one more thing is that the child might be like how you mentioned that the child is hiding their feelings and they're not able to tell you. That also happens because one, the child might be like shy or very reserved kind of, who doesn't want to express the feelings outside. That could be one reason. But that usually happens more because they're not comfortable with the person that they're talking to. So as a teacher, if they're not comfortable to talk to you, then it's also your responsibility to try to make that relationship more free flowing so that the student becomes more comfortable to talk to you. So if you're also strict like the parents, and the parents also are strict, then the child has nowhere to go to. They don't get the guidance from either place. And then it becomes very depressing as a situation for the child. So when we consider all this, and then still when the parent comes and shouts at you or complains to you, then you won't feel angry with the child or with the parent. Rather, you will feel that you really need to help the child because the child is going into a very depressing kind of a situation where they're not able to talk freely to the parent also and not to the teacher also. So from both sides, the child feels trapped. So this is all happening inside, but it doesn't become visible because the child is not comfortable to express the feelings outside. So in that situation, it is a good idea to try to have that relation with the child, be more comfortable with the child so that the child also freely expresses to you. And then you can always sort out the technical things like the marks and all that.
हेलो
Thank you.
हेलो भैया
Yeah, hello bhaiya.
हाँ हाँ गुड इवनिंग नमस्ते अच्छा क्या my question is that you said that one is to be very friendly to the child but yes true I agree with you so that he can share with us his problems feelings everything but sometimes you know na discipline is also most important thing if you don't put any do and don't or discipline then they never used to follow anything you know they are more casual. So what about that? Can you please elaborate that one? Thank you.
Okay, so in terms of that discipline kind of thing, what you're mentioning, instead of the do's and don'ts, if you're able to give some kind of proposals which make sense for the child, then the child will be able to choose what is right and what is wrong because the child also has this faculty of natural acceptance. So if we ask the right questions and create we just share these proposals which the child can explore on his own, his or her own, using the natural acceptance, then they'll come up with the right answer and they'll do the right thing, right? On the other hand, if you keep do's and don'ts without explaining the reasons behind them, then it looks like a little bit suffocating sometimes that why is this rule there? I don't want to do this. I'll do the opposite thing, right? So when that happens, it's just sometimes they might even break the rule just to prove that it's not necessary or it's not important or something. But if we are focused on the basic principles of what we want, essentially, then it becomes much easier, because then we are referring to our natural acceptance and getting the answer from there. And whatever comes from the natural acceptance is always right? It's universal, and it's something which we all want. So rules as such don't really help that much, but they can help to, draw a line somewhere. But even for that also, if the reasons are explained, and if it makes sense to the child also, and they feel like these rules are for this purpose and I like it this way, then it's fine. Then it will start working also.
Like if she knows that if I will not study, so I can't write in exam, right? So it is thing that for to understand something, he needs some practice. Like to know a bicycle, someone has to practice regularly, like this. So for education also, he has to practice little bit. So if someone will just watch all the time or wasting the time, but he's not caring. So how to make them understand this thing?
So again, explain the relevance of those subjects in the real life scenarios, and also like the real life scenarios which are not too much in the distant future. Like for example, if you're teaching calculus and then you're saying the application is in machine learning, which will be 10 years later, like which they might study 10 years later, then the connect is not there. So you can teach some other applications which they might be going through. I mean, some other things which might be more relevant to them at this time, and then you can also connect with applications in the future and all that. And also how those applications also connect with their happiness eventually. Maybe they connect with the jobs also, then maybe the jobs connect with something else also, and maybe, to bring everything in perspective. So you can discuss the relevance of that education, of that subject. And then that makes it more interesting for the student also, because they think that they're able to understand something better about life. So then they automatically may pay more interest in it.
If Ashok Bhaiya, it is okay the answer. Any question more? Ashok ji,
I think the mic is mute. His mic
yes,
is muted, but that's
Hello?
okay.
yeah, now it's
हाँ भैया, हाँ भैया. Yes, I agree, but I what I'm seeing, no, in the classes also. Now earlier it was online, so in online people used to come. See, there is no excuse that sir, I was late due to that electricity. I was late due to this that. I mess was closed, mess was late, huge line was there. Lot of excuse used to there in the classroom. They never used to come. There was, but now offline also. So what is there? No students are coming, but very casual. What I find now, earlier there was a discipline that if suppose, for example, in our case teachers are there in an university, near about 200 400 teachers are there. They have a rule in the administrative that if you will come 9 o'clock, or they are giving it a flexible time that 9 to 9:30 you may enter, then you have to stay for 5:30 6 o'clock. So teachers know that they will come 9 to 9:30. If they will delay, then half salary will be cut, or the half day CL will be applicable. So teacher is having some responsibility that okay, so if I have to enter, then this is the scenario. They are understanding these things. But in that case, students also, they are not understanding that AICT is saying or TCI is saying that this much attendance is necessary, right? To understand the subject matter. But if the college or university will give so much flexibility, because you understand what I mean to tell you, right? So in that case, the students are very casual. It's like that if someone was working or not working, he is getting money. So why he will go to office, right? So this one more example. Let me give one more, Bhaiya.
Yeah,
See,
yeah, I got the
yeah,
point actually.
no, I understand. I understand. One more example, little different from that. So that I don't have interest of car riding. Suppose, and my father has purchased me a car, and he has given me a driver to go to the driving school and learn there. He has done everything for me, but I don't have interest to go to the driving school at all. He is saying that he is not coming, he is moving here and there. At the end of the thing, when someone will come that let's go to Masuri, then what will happen to him? Because it is only rocks are there, mountains are there. So similar thing happens with the student also. How many times you will say, I don't think how to handle that? No, it's a big challenge. Similar thing to my daughter also, that all the times I make her understand. But I say used to said, okay, if you want to see this much time mobile, you please watch. But yeah, she promised me, ki, Papa, yes, I will see that much only. But she never used to keep her promise. So that thing, how I never used to got angry. Okay, but I'll say, see, you are not keeping your promise. You know, you are wasting your time. Then he will be more casual, and he will just play, and he will just 9:30, 10 o'clock, cover her and sleep. So this is the thing, Bhaiya. How to handle that, I'm not understanding.
So when I was in college also, there was a lot of rules about attendance and all that. But in some of the classes, there was no attendance taken and there was no rules, nothing at all. And surprisingly, those were the classes which were most full. I mean, our class of 110 people were there in college. There were 110 people in our batch. So this class, this one or two classes which didn't have attendance used to be almost 110 people's attendance. I mean, almost 110 out of 110 used to attend that one or two classes. And the rest of the classes, even though there was attendance being taken and they were very strict and all that, even then the percentage of attendance, like the percentage of people attending the class was about 80%. Most of the class was attending only because of the rule.
Arjun, why they
and
didn't
the
take the
interesting
attendance?
thing is, that the class which didn't have any attendance rules and nothing at all, that was the class which scored the highest marks also, and also understood the subject also best, and were also doing projects within that subject, practical projects within that subject. And many of those people went on to do masters and do all those things also. And one more example is that in a lot of colleges, they don't have attendance. And still, some of the big inventions also happen in those kind of places. Like in the US also, there are so many colleges where where they don't take attendance, because many things are available online, and unless the student is getting something special by coming to the class, if it's only information which the teacher is giving, then it's not really that useful. Like, just think from the student's point of view, or just think from like, let's say that these PPTs are there. Let's say that you have all these PPTs with you, and if the teacher is just explaining them in a little bit of detail or something which you can just directly get on Google, then there's no motivation for the student to come, because they can get that information much more easily, much faster also. So as a teacher, it's not only about giving the information. There's a lot more which can be done, which which can be made much more relevant to the student's life, and also more relevant to the practical applications of that subject, making it interesting, and doing something much more than what you can get online. Like there's YouTube also. There are so many lectures on YouTube also. So as a teacher now, the role is bigger, that you can do much more. But if you're stuck with just sharing the information, then it's something which they can get elsewhere also, right? So there's no motivation to come to the class if it's only that.
But what you said, okay, few them are there, might be. But if all the classes are like that, mean what does it mean by? You are saying that all the teachers are bad, mean they are not knowing the teaching. It's coming in that now it's the principle of the higher authority. They will tell what you are saying also, that no, the teachers are not knowing the teaching. They are not making the classes. It's the scenario of the father what given I example a car purchasing. It might be that thing only, I think so.
No, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying the teachers don't know the information. I'm saying that the information, if information is the only contribution from the teacher, then if that information is easily available online, then there's no special motivation for the student to go to that class, right? That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So I'm not saying the teacher is good or bad or anything.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that if the teacher is only providing information, and if that information is easily accessible somewhere else, then what is the advantage of going to the class? I mean, just think from the student's point of view.
that's true, but there are colleges, bhaiya, there are colleges that if you don't go to the college also, they will give you the certificate. You understand? So it's very easy, it is very cheap also. They are paying huge amount to the university. It's good to admit in a private college and I have the degree only. It's very nice.
Yeah, so the system has a lot of issues with that kind of certification without actually knowing the subjects and all that. But in your case, at least there are some people attending the class, right? So if the class can
Yeah.
have
The person, those who are attending regularly attends, regularly, mean out of 60, if 50% are coming, mean 50% are coming, or they are, if they will not come to class, then they understand ki, yeah, in the book content is there, but it's still difficult to understand. And that rest 30 are not coming, not answering also, they are failing. The thing is that how to motivate them to come to the class. Yeah.
again, same thing, that like if you can explain the relevance of that subject in their real life and also try to connect it with the bigger picture of these three blocks that we have, this understanding, relationships, and physical facility. If you can connect it with these three also, then it will help to motivate.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible. You can ask, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Sir. So can I share something?
Sure.
Okay. Actually,
Bhaiya, there's no sound.
Manisha Didi, am I audible, Manisha Didi?
Now you're audible, Priya Didi, and Arjun Bhaiya, you're also audible. But
I think
somehow he was trying to share. I think he's got disconnected, I think.
SS Didi, he got disconnected.
Ji, Mrityunjay Bhaiya?
Now he's...
yes.
Yes, Bhaiya, please go ahead.
Okay. So since we are the human being and we want to live well, so that is why
Manisha Didi, are you able to hear it?
restrictions, rules, regulations
Maybe there is a
are
lot
there.
of lagging in
Lagging.
So,
Bhaiya, your voice
if
is
you
lagging.
think just opposite way, that means if we hello.
Bhaiya, your voice was
Okay.
lagging. We could not
Is it
hear
clear?
anything. Can you please repeat it?
Hello. Now it is clear?
Now it's clear, Bhaiya. You can.
Okay. So since we are the human being and since we want to live well, so that is why the restrictions, rules, regulations, etc. are there. So if we want to live well, then the rules, regulations, restrictions, there should be. If we think it just opposite way, that means if we are in well, that means if we are in harmony, then no need of rules, regulations, and restrictions. Because if we go through the natural acceptance, and if we verify, explore within, after that, we reach, we have the real understanding, that is right understanding and right feeling. So when I am in the right understanding and right feeling, and I am in harmony, then the loves within me there and myself is in the conscious state. So if it is in the conscious state, then to attend the class, there will be a urge within. That means I must have to do that. These type of feelings must be there within. Otherwise, I am not in harmony. So if I am in harmony, I am in love, I am in conscious state, then myself will tell you what to do and what not to do. And which actually wants to do, this is the urge of myself. And this urge will follow me to, that means this urge will send me to do or attend the class at proper time, at the actual time. So then there will be all the problem will be solved. So first thing is, if we give the idea, or if the students goes to the right understanding, the student has the right understanding and right feeling. So our main goal is, if I am in the harmonious state, then only I can do. Otherwise, I can't do, because the love is not there. If the love is not there, then there will be no urge to rectify the students. So if love is there, then only we can reach a particular student. That means by myself, the student actually reach to the right understanding and right feeling state. So there will be many efforts automatically comes from myself to do that. And when the students reaches to that state, then it will reach to the harmony state. It will be, he or she will be in the harmony state. Then no need of restrictions, the rules, regulations from outside, because all the things are there within the self of the student or student. That means it may be, the students may be he or she. So this is what my observation. Thank you. Hello.
Yeah, thank you. Thank
Hello,
you very
ma'am.
much. Okay, anyone else would like to share any comments or questions?
Sir, namaste, sir. I am Ranganath, sir.
Namaste, sir.
Sir, how
Yes,
are you,
sir.
sir?
I'm good.
Namaste, sir.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, we
Somebody,
can hear
somebody started speaking, sir. Let him speak.
you. No, he
Later.
finished speaking actually.
Yeah,
You
I'm
can.
not there yet. Please go ahead.
Okay, okay, sir. Sir, I have been with a doubt. Bringing up of the children
Yeah.
make a pivotal role in shaping, developing both mentally, physically, the things. And one more thing, the impact, the bad influence of media, especially, and also their parents' economic position and the situation around him. In spite of precautions, care taken, extended love for them, still some students are crossing their limits because of the influence of this media, peer pleasure, their economic family or their parents' economic positions, and they're brought up. So what I have experimented with some students, in spite of my request, sometimes appeal to them also to change. Otherwise, your future will be like this. To avoid some problems in future, you should have first you weigh yourself, measure yourself, then you can go whether you could lift that or not. If at all it is compulsory, necessary to lift it, you have to increase your weight or strength so that lifting will be very possible, sir. That is why hurdles are because of this media, especially what I feel in my personal opinion, sir, what I observed in my life. And then bringing up also plays a vital role, what I feel, sir. Could you please comment on it, sir?
Yeah, actually, all these sources have a role in creating different kinds of thought processes and assumptions and beliefs within
Sir.
everyone, right? Not only students, but all the people are
Yes.
influenced by all these things, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, their thoughts and their behavior
Yes.
and all that might be slightly influenced by all
Yes.
these
Yes,
things.
sir.
And that's why in the society as a large,
Yes, sir.
at large also, when you look in the society, you can start seeing the
Yes,
influence.
I agree.
So regardless of all that, at any point of time,
Yes.
you can start exploring these proposals to get more clarity on what part of that media you want to listen to, what part of
Yes.
what assumptions that you have about life are actually true, which you can verify with your natural acceptance, and which ones you can't.
Parents should verify, sir, what they are watching, all these things, sir. I feel so. That is what you suggest, sir.
Having the rules doesn't really
Yes, sir.
help in the long run, because
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
because once like, suppose if the parent is very strict and saying that you can watch only this channel and you can do only this and like that, then after some point when the child grows up, then the child can watch anything, right? After that.
Yes, sir.
So,
Risk group, sir. They would like to try and enjoy it, sir.
yeah, so if we are focused on developing the understanding,
Yes,
then
sir.
the child will be able to choose on his own which
Yes.
thing would be right to
Yes.
choose.
Yes. Yes,
But
sir.
if we are focused on just the do's and don'ts kind of thing, then the moment child grows up and is able to do that same thing on their own, then
Yes.
the restrictions become meaningless, because then the child can obviously, once they get their own job and all that, they can live somewhere else and they can do whatever they want there, right?
Yes, true, sir. Yes, sir.
So,
Yes.
so in the long run, the rules doesn't really help, and it in fact pushes the children away from the parent, because it becomes like more restricting to live in that scenario. So rather
Yes.
than that, you can have a situation where the parent is the guide for the child, but is not imposing any rules, is the
Yes.
guide which helps the child choose the right path.
Yes. Good. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. Right, sir. Yesterday, I had a participant sharing his thought that all these intermediate and engineering level students are adolescents. It is a little bit difficulty handling these students or people in adolescent age. How is it possible? I heard it, but it is possible what I have heard long back, sir. All of us. And also my personal experience, I have been trying some of the students, they changed themselves, sir. I am really happy for that, sir. Adolescent is what you said, it depends upon us to handle them. Sir. Sir, your comment, please.
About this thing, about the fact that you're what exactly?
Sir, adolescence.
Yeah. I mean, like everybody has that life cycle of birth and then adolescent and then
Yes, sir.
middle age and then old age and like that cycle. So the self is the one that has the scope of understanding, right? The body
Yes.
can keep going through different phases and different shifts in
Yes, yes, sir.
the
Yes,
body
sir.
structure and the things
Yes.
happening in the body.
Yeah.
So regardless of that age,
Yes, sir.
we can still try to make it as relevant for the student as possible, so that
Yes, sir.
whatever the student is going through becomes more clear.
Yes, sir.
Like we can be more like a friend rather than a friend who can also be a guide, rather
Exactly.
than someone who gives rules and tells them to follow it, otherwise you'll be punished.
Exactly, sir. Exactly, sir.
Because those rules, they might work while you're in the confines of the college premises and all that, but after that it doesn't work.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And it
Yes.
doesn't work in the long run also, because
True,
then
sir.
it feels like those rules were meaningless, right? In the
Yes,
long
sir.
run, the student might feel that those rules didn't really help much.
Yes. Yes.
And we can always do something else which is outside of those rules as soon
Yes.
as we leave the college.
Yes, sir. Yes, true, sir. True, sir. Temporarily, he may be afraid of us, but later on, no, he will continue what he learned, sir. Yes, sir. That's why.
So on the other hand, if you're trying to help the child to do the right thing,
yes, sir.
Then the child will develop a respect for you also.
Yes, true, sir. I am enjoying it, sir. I am enjoying it truly. I am enjoying it, sir.
And then the child will also be more comfortable to talk to also, for you also, and for him also, him or her.
Yes. They have abundance of respect for me, for each and everything. They come, I sit with them, I ask them sit in front of me in my chamber, and I guide them in a soft way, sir. I have changed. I would like to do more, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I think we'll close.
I think we'll close it, Arjun, because I think time is also there.
Yeah, time is up, and
it was nice session. I think teachers could ask many of the doubts this session. Next week, I think students will be joining. So we'll take their queries, and I can start the session also next week.
Yeah.
So, Manisha Diti, you're there?
I'm there.
So we can close it, Diti.
I mean, it's good that so many of the teachers could put forward their, input and their queries and their discussions into the session. So this gave an advantage for the teachers also to interact with Arjun Bhaiya. Nice. And when the students come in, we'll give more opportunity to the students to interact, so that you can just listen and to the sessions or the discussions that are being placed by the students. And this will give us an opportunity to understand our students better, like what is their...
Yeah, the Manisha, the Arjun's answer, no, it is from a student perspective. So we should go into that way. We feel that we are a little elder, we become like a professor. So we need to, it is actually what Arjun is telling the character. If you come to that level and understand, no, it becomes easy for us to handle the things.
Very rightly so.
Yeah, very nice.
Nice.
Well, thank you, Arjun, so much for giving the answers by considering the students' perspective, so it is, we understand, like otherwise we will not think in that way.
That
The
is
main thing is that whether it's teacher or student, the more difference we create between these two labels, the more uncomfortable it will be
We
for
feel,
both.
yeah.
The more we feel that we are in the same category, the easier things will be. Because
Yeah,
like if you're talking to another teacher, your colleague, then you may have one level of comfort and one level of kind of how you can share things. If you can develop that same level of comfort with the students, and the students feel equally comfortable to share things with the teachers, then instead of being two different categories which are far apart, they can be clubbed into one category.
Yes, yes.
So that means a lot of things. That means that, we understand our assumptions, our beliefs, our preconditioning and all that. And with that, we also understand the students, all those things, the preconditioning, the beliefs, the situations which they're in right now and all that. And then we're able to relate to what they have to say after that. Right now, the gap is because as teachers also, there may be a lot of things which are not understood about what the situation, what kind of mindset the students have and what they are going through and all that. So the more it becomes a friendly kind of conversation, the easier things will become, I think.
Yes, Arjun, very true. So
that's really fine, and that's really right. I think next week onwards, when the students join in, right, we'll be able to have more and more discussions in the same light. So that will be really good. Nice, Arjun. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And Priyati, I think we can say namaste to all and close the session now.
yes, Didi, we can close.
Namaste.
Namaste,
Namaste.
namaste. We'll see you next week.
Namaste, everybody. Namaste.
Namaste, sir. Parishit, sir. Namaste.
Namaste, Vijay. Namaste. Good night.